Hey everybody, welcome back to Clipboard Cars. Today on the channel we have the BMW M340i, and this car should not be this good.
Oh, it went by like dust to dawn. Isn't that the way? Everybody's got their dues in life to pay.
Now in this video we're going to cover 5 exterior features as well as 5 interior features. We'll show you the whole vehicle wide open, then we'll get in it, take it for a drive, and give you our thoughts and impressions. Now the first exterior design I want to cover is the whole front end of this M340i because it has the regular kidney grille. This is what the M3 should have looked like. I love the front of this car. It is so well designed. Just take it in. The next exterior detail I want to cover are the mirrors. They have a little arrow fin here to help channel the wind down the side of the car. Not exactly sure how much aerodynamics this really adds, but it does look pretty cool. The next exterior detail I want to cover are the slim adaptive LED headlights. These things look absolutely menacing at night. The next exterior detail I want to cover is that this M340i has the M Sport rear bumper and front bumper. The rear bumper has these diffusers right here at the bottom. Again, not really sure how much it actually adds, but it does look cool. As well as the trapezoidal designed exhaust tips. The actual exhaust just comes into them, but it overall, it has a really good look, and the exhaust sounds pretty good. The last exterior detail I want to cover are the 19-inch alloy wheels that come on this M340i, and they just look really good, very aggressive and sporty. You even have the little M badge here as well as the Heritage BMW logo. So coming to the interior, the first interior feature I want to cover is this huge curved screen here. It's actually a combination of 2 screens that they tried to make like one single unit, but the actual gauge cluster is a 12.3-inch unit, and then the infotainment itself is a 14.9-inch screen. Altogether, it does look pretty cool. It is a very simplistic design in here for the dash, but overall, I think BMW's onto something. The next interior feature I want to cover are the premium leather sport seats. They are heated but not cooled. I'd have to look into it to see if cooled is an option, but they're pretty bolstered and they hug you pretty good for cornering. The next interior feature I want to cover is the actual quality of materials used. There's lots of nice aluminum metal components. There's a lot of knurling going on with the selectors and all that kind of stuff. You really feel like you're in a high-end vehicle when you sit in here. The next interior feature I want to cover is the steering wheel itself. It's a sporty 3-spoke design. I really like the way BMW designed this. All of your features that you need to touch are right here for your cruise control, adaptive cruise, all that kind of stuff, as well as adjusting menus for changing tracks and picking up answering phone calls, all that kind of stuff. One of the things that I like BMW for is that they changed where the heated steering wheel button was. It was like tucked up underneath the center column here, and they've moved it here to the bottom of the steering wheel so it's easy to access. Again, that's if you got the optional heated steering wheel. The next item here to cover on the interior is the Harman Kardon sound system. It's a good sounding sound system. The last thing I want to touch on is the ambient lighting that you'll have throughout the interior at night. It just makes you kind of feel like you're at the club. You can change the colors to what you want. It's a pretty nice interior. If you guys are new to this channel, we have new episodes every single Monday. We are trying our best to find the time to shoot all these episodes, make sure we stay on schedule and all that kind of stuff. We do have the capabilities to scale this channel to having much better production value. We have lots of connections to other cars. We just don't want to bring in the really, really fancy cars quite yet until we have a higher subscriber count. So if you guys could, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you along for the ride. All right, we are driving the BMW M340i. This is an X-Drive, which means it has all-wheel drive, and this is also a 2023 model year, which is the first year of the facelift that they did for this car. Overall, I do like driving a good, well-built 3 Series, and the M340i is it's pretty good. So looking around the interior, I've got this okay size center console, little cubby here where I just open this door and there's an okay amount of storage in there. There are some charge ports and stuff like that, so if you want to just keep your phone tucked away in here and have it charging, that's definitely something you can do. Moving up from the center console storage area, we have the BMW iDrive 8 selecting mode where you have the home button, menu, media, all that kind of stuff with this little turn dial that you can change through menus. The screen itself is touchscreen, but if you don't feel like using it as a touchscreen, you can definitely navigate your menus using the little turn dial here. The transmission is newly designed where it has, it's not an actual thing that you grab onto to shift, it's a little switch that you just kind of push a little bit here and there to change gears. You've got your park button below the switch, and then behind that you've got your electronic parking brake. To the left of the parking brake, you've got your different drive modes for Eco Pro, Comfort Mode, and Sport Mode. Sport Mode really does dial this car up into a whole new level. I really do enjoy driving this car in Sport Mode. Above that, you have a metal-plated start-stop button for turning the car on. Then you've got your camera button, traction control, as well as a parking sensor button to turn those on and off. Very well laid out. It's everything that you need, very quick and easy to access. In front of that, we have the cup holders as well as an additional charging ports, and those can be hidden away just by pulling down on the cover, and then if you want to bring it back on, you just tap on it and it exposes the cup holders and charging ports. And then hidden away in front of the cup holders is an actual wireless charger pad. It's not a big pad, but it's good enough to fit most cell phones. Above the cup holder area though, we've got more buttons with the hazards, changing tracks, the volume knob, as well as front and rear defrost. Above that, we have our climate vents, which look really cool, very well styled for this interior. It's like modern, simple, but also really styled. It's kind of hard to describe. You just got to look at it and understand what you're seeing. Above that, we have the 14.9-inch infotainment screen. Very easy to navigate, very crystal clear. I mean, this looks like a Samsung OLED in here. It's a very nice looking screen. To the left of the infotainment though, we have the gauge cluster, which has really cool futuristic gauges as far as how the RPMs rise and the speed rises. It just feels like I'm in a fighter jet watching everything just rise up. This sports steering wheel, I gotta admit, it's one of my favorites. Really chunky, a lot to grab onto. The paddle shifters are nice, good aluminum feel. And then again, you have the 3-spoke design. It's just very sporty and makes me feel like I'm in the ultimate driving machine, which is what BMW has always called themselves. When it comes to turning on and off, like the headlights and changing the features, it's not an actual turn dial like most cars. They actually have a set series of buttons here off to the left side of the steering wheel, and it's very easy to operate. When I'm looking down at the door, I've got these pretty cool looking door handles for obviously opening the door, but they're finished in a nice aluminum. And then the door switches and all that for the windows, everything looks great. The speakers look really cool for the Harman Kardon surround sound. And then also looking around, we've got this cool blue piping for the stitching and all that kind of stuff. And it just really just completes the look. You got little M touches here and there. I know this isn't a full-on M car, and it never will be. I'm never gonna say that this is an M car, but there's just a lot of good sporty feel to it that doesn't really warrant the M badge, probably not, but it's pretty good. I don't know the exact paint color that this car is finished in, but it's like this midnight, deep, dark, metallic blue. And when the sunlight hits it just right, I think this is probably the best color that you can get this car in. How would you spec this car? Would you get it in this dark blue, or would you get some other fancy color? Or would you just be a simple plain person and get gray? When it comes to fitting in the back seats, I'm 6'3", and I can technically fit back there. Headroom is just fine. Leg room, even when I have my seat set for myself in the front, and I can still fit in the back. If you gotta haul buddies around or anything like that, there is plenty of room back there. Trunk space is about average for a sedan. I have to be honest, this is a dying vehicle segment where not too many manufacturers are still making sedans, and I'm really glad that BMW has this car. The more I drive this car, the more I feel that the suspension and the powertrain, everything is very well tuned and dialed in with each other. Nothing's overpowering anything. The suspension isn't too harsh for this kind of vehicle. The engine isn't too powerful for what you're trying to get out of this thing. The rear suspension on the M340i is an independent rear suspension setup. It's a multi-link system with coil springs and a stabilizer bar. The aftermarket does support this car pretty heavily, so there's some pretty zesty options where you can really get some pretty awesome suspension on it. So the front suspension on the M340i is a McPherson strut setup with coil springs and a stabilizer bar. Overall, it's very sporty. This is the M Sport tuned suspension, and it really is nimble and handles the corners great. BMW also offers adaptive M suspension, which is electronically controlled dampers for adjustable firmness. The steering on the BMW has electric power assist with electric sense steering, also known as Servotronic, according to BMW. When it comes to the drivetrain, the M340i has xDrive, which means it has BMW's all-wheel drive system, which is perfect for winter driving. The rear differential on the BMW has electromechanical limited slip diff, better known as a sport differential, for improved traction. It really reminds me of an E46 M3 from the early 2000s. I really feel like this is like the modern rendition of that car. It might be kind of sacrilegious to say that, but I really think that's what BMW has going on here. I mean, the weight, this car weighs about 500 pounds more than an E46 M3, and it has about, I think, like 50 more horsepower than the E46. And I just feel like the same balance is there. I know this is all-wheel drive versus a rear-wheel drive car, but overall, I mean, it does have that kind of quality feel to it. Obviously, transmission-wise, much different. This has an 8-speed transmission that is Steptronic and shifts very fast. It's very aggressive in sport mode. The downshifts are very sharp, like almost, I would say they're almost too sharp for this car. But then again, if you are buying this to have a sporty car, like, buckle up, you're gonna love it. So when it comes to the 0 to 60 figures for this car, BMW rates it at 4.1 seconds. However, I've seen independent testing done where they've managed to hit 3.8 seconds. Plus, I know this engine is very tunable, and I think you can really probably get a little lower into the threes. So the M340 is faster than its competition, and that includes the Audi S4 and S5, Mercedes AMG C43, and even the Cadillac CT4 Blackwing. Like, that's impressive. Like, this car really does rip for its category. When it comes to fuel economy for this inline-six engine, you're looking at 23 in the city, 32 on the highway. I don't think that number's ever changed ever since this engine came out. I just think that BMW was like, yep, that's good enough, keep it going. Now, when this car was new in 2023, the starting price, brand new off the showroom floor, was $57,000, and then you can add in options and obviously find yourself up substantially higher than that. However, you can find these cars on the used market for a good bit less. So for a high mileage pre-facelift car, so back to like 2020 and stuff like that, you can find these cars for $27,000 to $34,000. Again, you're talking like 80,000 plus miles, and these cars have been pretty well beaten on, kind of thing. If that doesn't scare you or anything like that, these engines are pretty tough and reliable, but still, it's a German engine, high mileage. You're gonna see some higher expenses for repairs and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to finding one of these with a newer 2023 and newer facelift, all that kind of stuff, lower miles, we're talking below 50,000, you can find these cars typically from $44,000 to $52,000. And this is a good amount of car for that price tag. It's shocking how good this car is. It really punches above its weight. I really think that this is one of those hidden menu items that BMW offers, because it's a tunable car, but straight off the showroom floor, this thing rips, and it turns and handles great. If you are gonna cross shop this vehicle though, keep in mind there's a lot of really good options. It is gonna be really hard to pick your favorite one because all of the cars in this category are just really good. And we're talking like mid-level performance vehicles. We're not talking about the full M line or RS line for German cars. But overall, let's go ahead and talk about what key competitor cars this car has. So the first one is the Audi S5 and S4 models. We have the Mercedes AMG C43. And then we also have the Tesla Model 3 Performance, and that's kind of an interesting one to figure out. I want to get one of those on the channel because I know that the Model 3 performance is going to be quicker in a straight line, but I really think this car has a beat in the corners and overall enjoyment of driving. One thing that BMW never slouches on is the brake setup for these cars. The front brakes feature a 4-piston fixed caliper with large 2-piece vented rotors. They're approximately 374 millimeters in diameter by 36 millimeter thickness. For the rear brakes, they're 1-piston sliding calipers with vented rotors, approximately the size of 345 millimeters in diameter, as well as 24 millimeters of thickness. When it comes to colors for the calipers, you can get standard M Sport calipers in blue or red, but the color doesn't always indicate optional upgrades. The standard rotors are blank face, or you can get dimpled and slotted optional M Performance rotors. When it comes to the brake feel, there's a common observation that there is a dead pedal zone followed by a strong grab, sometimes affected by a mild hybrid system's regenerative braking, leading to inconsistent feel for some of the drivers. The 60 to 0 stopping distance for this car is approximately 104 feet. That's a pretty short distance for a car that weighs nearly 2 tons. And plain and simple, oh yeah. Ooh, a little lightheaded. Yeah, these brakes are good. The way the power rolls on with this car, you don't have to get too high in the RPMs to really feel it. And it just comes on really quick. Like after 2,000 RPMs, you can really feel that it wants to come in. Second gear is definitely the gear for this car. Now the M340i is powered by the legendary B58 engine, and this engine has some pretty good power figures. So it's got 382 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque, and I can tell you that BMW underrates these power figures, so let's rip. Sing for the laughter, sing for the tears, sing with me if it's just for today, maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take you away. Now for how amazing this car is, not every car is perfect. Let's go ahead and dive into the common problems. The first one being coolant leaks and the Vanos system oil leaks. It's just known to happen with this engine platform, and just be ready to start looking at that. Coolant leaks could actually start as soon as 45 to 50,000 miles. Oil leaks and all that kind of stuff, it's a BMW, just know it's gonna happen, but expect that kind of stuff to happen around the 60,000 mile mark and up. That'll also rope in the valve cover and gasket leaks. That kind of stuff I would actually, depending on how you're driving the car, if you're constantly romping on this thing, it will obviously wear things out faster, but those kinds of leaks typically are closer to the 70,000 plus mark. When it comes to the Vanos system, there's a lot of sludge buildup that can clog up the solenoid areas, and just you're not going to get the right signals going. So again, things that do happen with the B58 engine, as long as you're willing to accept all of that, you're good to go. Sometimes the iDrive with the infotainment setup, it does tend to freeze or glitch or all that kind of stuff, and it ends up going into different menus where you're like, what the heck are you doing? I'm not even hitting anything, and it's starting to go through menus like a ghost is operating it. Other things could be where the parking sensors randomly just stop working when you need them to. So German car technology, it's great for 100,000 miles and then run away from it after that. This is another common problem, which is kind of weird because the Apple CarPlay has been known to not have any issues, but if you have Android Auto, the system's a little bit glitchy with it on connectivity. There is some sort of weirdness going on with the battery terminals because they tend to corrode really fast, and you start losing, the battery just discharges faster as well, and it just doesn't have a solid connection. So just constantly, not constantly, but every now and then check the battery terminals, just make sure they're clean. BMW have active grills. It's nothing new, but the grills open and close for different temperature usage for the engine, as well as aerodynamics. Sometimes those glitch out and they actually stop working when they need to. More than likely, it'll actually have a sensor that'll trigger if they're not working, and it'll tell you on the actual screen, like service the vehicle, and then they'll pull the code and figure out what's going on. But that is something that can tend to happen. I want to give a huge shout out to Akins Ford. They supplied us with this BMW out of their used sales team. Can't thank those guys enough. They love supplying us with cars. We like obviously shooting videos out here. They have a great setup for it. If you ever need to find any sort of car, give them a call. They'll be happy to throw you the keys to whatever they have on the lot, so that way you can get to experience it. Or if you're looking for something very in particular, they'll be happy to try and help find that car for you. So that's going to wrap things up for this episode. What do you guys think? Is this car the modern E46 M3? And would you take this over an Audi S5 or S4? I genuinely think this car is almost too good for its category, and it needs its own category of car, because it's not quite like M3 good, but it's somewhere in the middle. Like, I think it's at the top of the range for this mid-performance segment.